You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Hi, I'm Tatiana Maligro Puma Podcast, and you're listening to Teka Teka. Last April, Environment Secretary Antonia Yulo Loizaga said that the Philippines produces 2.7 million tons of plastic waste annually. Around 20% ends up in our oceans, while others find their way to our rivers and water supply. Because of this, Loizaga admits that Filipinos ingest microplastics daily through the food that we eat and even the air that we breathe. In another Puma Podcast program, A Better Normal, our editor-in-chief Carl Javier takes a look at where our plastics go after we throw them away and its effects on our health. Have a listen.
Plastics have been around since the 19th century, used for storage and in packaging that we see everywhere today. For sure, each one of us has used a plastic product at least once in our lives, if not once every day. But what do we need to know about our plastic diet? And what impact does our consumption have on the environment? I talked to Julius Girhen, manager of WWF's No Plastics in Nature project, to get some answers. Julius has been working in the development sector for 20 years now, with a background in coastal and fisheries resource management.
The amount of waste produced by an individual or per person, depende yan sa maraming factors. That includes lifestyle, consumption habits, geographical location, even yung availability ng mga waste management infrastructure, and of course, yung individual efforts natin towards recycling and reducing plastic use. In the Philippines, unfortunately, we're one of the countries that is most affected by plastic pollution. And yun nga, a significant portion of our waste ends up in waterways. So yung mga canals, esteros, mga ilog, and ultimately, papunta sa ating mga karagatan. As per report naman ng Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives or GAIA or GAIA, so the Philippines generates around 2.7 million metric tons of plastic waste per year. So on a per capita basis, so parang sinasabi na bawat Pilipino ay nagpro-produce ng 25 kilos of plastic waste bawat taon. So on a daily basis, parang nasa ano din siya. Parang similar din siya sa global trend. So nasa around 0.6 to 0.75 kilos per day.
Yeah.
So to better visualize siguro, parang tatlong patong ng quarter pounder. Yun.
Tatlong patong. Wow. Per day.
Per day.
Gosh.
Tapos, the one thing lang that is currently parang an issue with our plight to reduce nga plastic pollution is yung Philippines kasi is, of course, parang tinatawagan nilang sachet economy. Especially sa mga rural areas na yun yung nakasanayan nila. So, yung daily things such as yung dishwashing liquid, toothpaste, shampoo. So, tingi-tingi nga, which significantly contributes nga doon sa plastic pollution natin na issue.
As Julius mentioned, there are several factors that contribute to plastic waste. These include lifestyle, consumption habits, a person's geographical location, and the availability of waste management infrastructure. Whether you live in an urban or rural area, there is still leakage. That's the term used to describe waste that does not go into proper management process. A WWF study also found that Filipinos generate about 2.15 million metric tons of plastic waste annually. 62% of that is low-value, single-use plastics, such as sachets. Only 9% of plastics Filipinos use are recycled, while 35% leak into the open environment. When we throw away our garbage, we don't usually think about where it goes next. So I asked Julius, what happens to it?
Depende sa type of waste. definitely it starts with the collection. So sa urban areas, so we have yung mga garbage trucks, may regular na collection schedule. So depende sa area kung regular ba yung collection system at saka may mga designated collection points. Yung role niyan is nasa part ng local government. So sila yung nagde-deploy ng mga garbage trucks. Sila din yung nagpro-provide ng mga bins, nag-a-assign ng mga collection points. In urbanized cities, meron din namang kasi may malaki yung income ng said city. So they also parang contract mga private companies to do the collection for them. Next step is yung transportation. So doon yung dadalhin sa mga processing facilities. So this can involve parang mga transfer stations kasi parang may mga hindi pa siya nasosort actually. So parang hihahatid pa lang siya doon sa mga different facilities. So that includes yun nga yung third phase or third step, which is yung disposal or treatment. So doon sa disposal and treatment, doon na yung parang may sorting na ginagawa. So yung mga non-recyclable waste for one, so those end up in landfills. So yun yung meron tayo dyan sa Manila. Mga urban cities are required to have, and municipalities as well are required to have landfills. So some of the waste, especially yung may mga pakinabang pa, end up in recycling facilities. So in Manila, we have recycling facilities in Cavite, meron din sa Valenzuela, sa Cebu. So depende. So they recycle materials like paper, plastic, glass, metal, na pwedeng pampakinabangan at saka maibenta ulit. And yun nga, they are turned into new products. So depende din sa type of materials na dumadaan sa mga different recycling facilities kasi kailangan ding ilinisan, especially kapag mga bottles. So of course, kailangan i-sanitize. Shredding, may process din na kailangang tunawin or i-melt at saka i-process ulit to create new raw materials for manufacturing.
I also pointed out to Julius that many local governments are adopting policies of using reusable containers to minimize single-use plastics. Julius agreed that these are helpful alternative options since the plastic that becomes leakage often feels like nothing when we throw it out, but can have serious impact on the environment.
Yung plastic kasi takes hundreds of years to decompose. So especially yung nasa sa dagat na parang difficult, parang mahirap na nga siyang i-retrieve or i-recover. So it takes hundreds of years na ma-decompose siya. And kung ma-decompose man siya, ultimately parang this will form into microplastics that is eventually parang nagiging pagkain ng mga isda, maliliit na isda na kinakain ng malalaking isda, na yung mga malalaking isda kinakain ng tao. There are studies naman ngayon that are also looking into yung intake ng microplastics ng individual. I'm not pretty sure of the amount or percentage, pero yun nga na parang I think lahat ng tao siguro sa mundo may ano na siya, parang yung laman ng tiyan niya may microplastics na. Kasi of course, yung plastics hindi naman siya part ng regular diet ng tao, pero yun nga dahil nga doon sa kapabayaan natin na ma-dispose or ma-regulate nga yung leakage. So yun yung nagiging parang further effect niya, especially sa atin as humans.
That was an excerpt from an episode of A Better Normal. The story definitely shed light on a long-time environmental issue in the Philippines. Environmental experts and advocates have been calling for better solid waste management in general since, I think, the early 2010s. And it's a reminder for us that much work still needs to be done. Beyond human health, plastic pollution is also linked to climate change, and the Philippines is among the most vulnerable to its effects. So I hope that this episode pushes everyone listening to not only do their part in reducing plastic waste, but to encourage others to do the same. This episode of A Better Normal is part of a special 3-part series supported by the Worldwide Fund, or WWF Philippines, on the plastic diet and what can be done to address this issue. So be sure to check out A Better Normal wherever you get your podcasts. Again, I'm Tatiana Maligro. This episode was edited by Mark Casilian and Pidoy Blanco. Our Teka Teka executive producer is Jill Caro, and our editor-in-chief is Carl Javier. The episode was also produced by Geraldine Pascual with editorial guidance from Reynald Ramirez. And of course, don't forget to follow Teka Teka and Puma Podcast on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. Thanks for listening.